Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I see we've got quite a spectrum of attendees today. Namibia, Germany, Saudi Arabia, UK, and Trinidad and Tobago, and many more. So welcome to everybody internationally. The joke about the pubs was we've just come off level 3, and they've opened up all the restaurants and all the pubs. And I think everybody's going to go for a bit of a party from today, so should be interesting times. Okay, so what are we here today? Well, I'm not really going to be speaking about DraftWorks much, and that's a bit of a change. I think I've been speaking about DraftWorks for about 9-10 years now, so it's something nice, new, and exciting. So how we're going to do this is I'm actually going to start at the beginning. Oh, and Cyprus. Sorry, I see Kiri and Cyprus. I'm going to actually start from the beginning, and we're going to talk about how Cync arose. And we're going to go move through Cync, and we're going to talk about the integrations, a little bit about DraftWorks, what we've done, and how it's going to improve your life. This invite, of course, has gone out to all the DraftWorks users, so there is focus on how it's going to improve your lives and what it's going to do for you going forward. But Cync is a separate app as well by itself. So it's not just an add-in for DraftWorks. It has its own interesting functions, which we're going to get into slowly. And it's going to be a bit of a journey that you're going to take with me. And there's going to be a lot of ideas I'm going to pose. Okay, a lot of questions. And we're going to go, well, if we can do this, if we have this information, think about what we can do. So it's going to be one of those sessions. It's a very casual session. So please keep the Q&A going. If there's anything you want to mention or talk about, raise it. Any idea that you have, raise it. Would love to go through it. Okay. So I'm going to take you through some of the basics. We're going to do integration into DraftWorks first, and then we're going to go through some of the features that the app has. And then we're going to be talking about release schedules and release times and how we're going to start releasing the app out. Okay. So first of all, let me log into Cync. So Cync, simplify your accounting process with Cync. So I'm going to log in, and don't worry, we're going to come back and we're going to have a look at the entire process of how you're going to sign up, etc. Okay. The first thing that we're welcomed by with Cync is, let's start by choosing how to add a new company. So I haven't told you entirely what Cync is about really at the core. Cync is about connecting to accounting systems. Okay. Not about just connecting to DraftWorks. DraftWorks is an integration. Cync is about connecting to all the various different accounting systems. So Cync is there to actually solve a bit of a problem. And we actually kind of have a big problem in the world where data is in these different silos, in these different accounting systems throughout. And now we want to try and bring everything together. When you have everything sitting together, you can now do a lot of powerful things with them. So that's the idea behind Cync, is integrating to all the different accounting systems and allowing the accounting systems to speak to each other. You can achieve so much. Stop the silo use of accounting data. When it's in different systems can't talk to each other. Let's get everything talking to each other and automating the way the world runs. And I'm sure pretty much everybody's an accountant here. I think nowadays accountants and developers basically around the world. So it's going to be an interesting trip. Okay, so let's have a look at how we integrate into the different accounting systems with Cync. And we're going to jump into DraftWorks, and we're going to show you where the real benefits for DraftWorks comes out shortly. Okay, so hi, welcome to Cync. Let's start by choosing how to add a new company. So we have various ways to access this accounting data. Now, of course, if you're in a firm, there's probably 2 ways you access accounting data. You either have access to, say, something on desktop where you're processing all the accounts, or you have your Sage accountants where you have now access to all of your clients there, or you have a case where you don't have access to any of your clients' accounting data. Your accountant, your client's accountant, or your client is actually processing that data themselves. And at the end of the day, you only get an Excel TB. Okay. So this aims to rectify two items. If you have the accounting data yourself, or if you need to request it from somebody else. And it all revolves around Cync. So for the first step, I'm going to select that I have access to the accounting data. So I've got access to a few of the platforms and a few of the companies in. So I'm going to be bringing on as the accountant. This is going to be what I'm accessing. Okay. So let's choose access to data. And now we need to choose the accounting systems that we're going to link to. Okay. So for release, we're going to actually start releasing very slowly. So we're doing a little bit of a delayed release across all the accounting platforms. This isn't so much for you, it's more for us. So what we want to be careful of is that we're going to be consuming large amounts of data, okay? Large amounts of data. So we just want to roll out the system very slowly, ensure that our infrastructure is, of course, handling everything. Everybody knows, of course, with the likes of what happened, unfortunately, when infrastructure lets you down, infrastructure suppliers let you down, with what happened with Sage 1. I'm very sorry that they had to go through that. That's infrastructure. Not really their fault. It was the guys that supply infrastructure. So we've done all of the software that lies on top of the infrastructure, but now we just want to see that the infrastructure is coping. So it's going to be a slow rollout for Cync to all of our clients, and we are starting first with the cloud platforms. Okay. So we're integrating into Sage Business Accounting, Sage 1, Intuit QuickBooks Online, and Xero, just to begin. When we're happy with the content and the consumption of the data and that our infrastructure is coping, or we can at least ramp up the infrastructure quite quickly, we will then open it up to the other solutions. So the other ones that are coming very soon are your desktop platforms. So Angelique, I saw that question, good one. What if your client does not have cloud accounting and they are still on Pastel or QuickBooks desktop? Cync isn't just about working with the cloud. The beauty of Cync is about working with your desktop applications. So one of the hardest things that we see clients dealing with, and this comes from, of course, our DraftWorks experience, is that cloud accounting is very easy to get hold of, but not everybody's on a cloud accounting. There are tons of guys still on desktop, and that desktop could be 1,000 kilometers away from you, or that could be next door, but it's a problem to always get data from that. That's why we see that Excel import is still the #1 import in DraftWorks. We know that the accountant doesn't have access to that data directly, not even on the cloud platforms. They may be a Sage shop, but their clients are on Xero or clients are on QuickBooks, and vice versa. So DraftWorks aims to bring all of this together under one banner. So for those that are using desktop, don't worry, there is a connector coming soon. If your client, I'm in Johannesburg, if your client is sitting in Cape Town, they can download a connector and you'll be able to sync to their accounting data. But we're going to go more into the accounting data and what we bring out and what you can do with it shortly. But just to explain the small rollout, it is a beta, we're taking it easy, but there's a lot of cool stuff that's coming. So please just bear with us. Just in at least the first month or two while we find our feet. Okay, we're thinking that the data is going to roll up to terabytes very quickly, and then becomes petabytes, and then we're going to see how good AWS is. So we just want to be cautious. We don't want, of course, the system to go down and you're not being able to access. Okay, so let's start by linking your companies. I'm first going to link to Sage Business Accounting. Actually, let's link to Xero. Okay. Jump in and let's connect to a Xero client that I have. So I've selected Xero and it goes, now let's sync your data. Cool. Now it's going to query Xero and it's going to ask me to authorize the connection. And I'm going to authorize the connection to Xero and it takes me back to Cync. Okay. So what we're doing now with Cync is now we've listed all the clients that Xero has listed, and we can simply choose which one we have. If we have multiple, we can go and we can select from the drop-down box. We're just going to keep the demo light and simple today, so I've prepared one beforehand. Okay, so the Xero company that we're connecting to is Fair Value Accountants, and it's picked it all up, and I'm going to go, yes, let's connect to Fair Value Accountants. Great, all systems go, fantastic. Okay, click finish, and we can go and we can view the hub and the status. The option I do get is the ability to invite other users or your accountant to your new company. So if I'm the business owner, what I can do is I can connect say my pastel partner to Cync, but then I can also invite my auditor or my accountant to share a connection with me on Cync. So if he needs any data, he doesn't have to come to me anymore and say, well, please, can you export the TV from pastel for me? Or please, can you run me a GL, or what happened with this transaction? He'll be able to access that all his side, just with a simple invite. So that starts to become very powerful, and we're going to drill down into that a little bit more. Okay. So I've connected fair value accountants via Xero to Cync. I'm going to connect one more. Let's go add a new company. I have access to this data as well. I'm going to do a request data in a little bit, but I'm going to connect to Sage Business Accounting. Okay, username. And let's connect. Okay, so it's going to run through. It's going to see which companies I have loaded, and I can, of course, then go, fantastic, all systems go. Let's sync Draftworks International Limited. So what you have currently, and this is just two companies, is that I've accessed and I've pulled in data for Xero and for Sage. Okay. What is in this data? Well, it's access to a nice little overview and some nice management reports and grids that we are building. Overview, profit and loss balance sheet. This is going to be extended nicely in the future. There's probably some nice integration coming with Draftworks, where we'll be doing some nice intelligence reporting. And of course, access to your TV. And there's some nice little features coming with access to your GL, etc. later. And also the ability to see your customers and your suppliers. Okay. But now I'm going to chat about the nice integrations that we have with Draftworks. Just before we delve back into Cync, we're going to go and we're going to talk about what you can do with Draftworks and the cool stuff that we've done with integration. Now, Cync started out as a solution to, of course, one of Draftworks' issue, and that was access to data. So in Draftworks, and we're going to be talking about cloud first, in Draftworks, when we went into a client, what we were used to doing is importing via Excel. Okay. So when I import via Excel, it's that drudgery of asking my client, please, can you send me the TB? Okay. And they would export it out of, say, Pastel Partner or whatever accounting system they're using, and they would then send it through to us. It takes time, it takes energy. I remember back in articles days, the amount of time that took was immense just to be able to access or get hold of information. You're not going to get it that day. Well, if you'll get it that day, if you're lucky, but that generally comes from the client the next day or the day after. And it's not always the right thing you ask for. So it just delays accessing all the data. Okay. I'm going to come back to desktop shortly as well. So Excel is a great way to put the information in. We also do that in desktop, and it's the #1 import option in desktop, simply because, like I mentioned before, you don't have access to your client's Pastel Partner or QuickBooks or any of the other accounting systems. But now with Cync, it opens up the ability to go and grab and access your data that you have. Okay. So we're also going to be incorporating a QuickBooks file in shortly, and we're going to be bringing in that data soon just for an import too. Okay. So then back to what we offer in terms of Draftworks and Cync. Now, for those of you that are on cloud, you'll know the screen very well. If you currently click it, it's going to say that we're releasing Cync, please book your spot. Okay. So just going back to, we are releasing slowly just to make sure that infrastructure and everything sustains the onboarding well, and we can provide good service and speedy service. So when you click Cync, it's going to tell you, please to go book your spot. So it will revert you to our Cync sign up page, where you can go and you can sign up and it'll book your spot. over the course of the next few weeks, we'll be opening it up to everybody, just in batches. So you can come on, you can sign up, and you can start going and connecting to all of your clients. Okay. However, I'm on a special version that's already connected. So I'm going to be able to connect to Cync. Okay. So do I need to import my data from Cync? Yes, I do. But first I need to authorize my access to Cync. Okay. So this is where you're going to need to have a Cync account. And you'll of course need to have a DraftWorks cloud account, and you'll authorize the two to connect and share data. So DraftWorks Cloud is requesting your access to your data. Yes, allow. Okay, fantastic. Cool. So now we have Cync and DraftWorks connected. So DraftWorks has access to all of the companies that I've linked to Cync. And it could be the 2 I have, or it could be 1,000 that I've added. Okay, so something very, very, very cool. Now DraftWorks has access to all of the information. We can choose to import from all of this clients. So think about it, each and every single year, if you onboard a new client, you'd have to connect, or you have to ask them for the TB, or you'd go in and connect to the cloud accounting system, and you'd import. This just simplifies it. Once you have that connection and you have to import next year, that connection is there. Okay. Or your client goes and he updates his accounting system, that connection is there. You can just re-pull it from Cync. Okay. So I've selected to import from DraftWorks International. Fantastic. So it's linked. So link to Cync, and I'll get a few options now for importing data from DraftWorks International in Cync. Import monthly balances. Okay, so if you're doing your monthly management accounts, go and select import monthly management balances, and it will import your opening balance and all your movements for the year. Else you also have the option to, of course, just link your final, which is in a checkbox, but to click this little button, and it's actually, it's automatically clicked for you to make life easy, automatically link accounts on import. Okay, so let's import that. And voila, sure. Okay. So what just happened? So we imported from our Sage 1 account, and DraftWorks has now automatically linked everything for me. So manual linking, like everybody is used to, you don't have to do it anymore. It's as simple as that. Everything is done for you. So what we've done with the Cync integration, it's actually something that we've wanted to do for ages, is we've gone across the accounting products and we've pulled out the generic GLs of all of them, and we've done the pre-linking for you. So Cync has all that information in the background. It knows what the DraftLinks numbers are, and it knows all the platforms that we're importing from, their generic TBs. So with the click of a button, I've been able to import the TB from Sage 1 via Cync. It's automatically linked, so it's automatically categorized for me. So I don't have to go through the linking process. This is going to save you 10 minutes, big TV maybe 15 minutes, small TV maybe 5 minutes, each time that you raise a new client. Okay, Cync, whoop. I'm going to clear out some of the empty accounts. So we bring in all the accounts. Why do we do that? Well, because this may be in a profit or loss, and we may want to use the tax accounts that have already been pulled in, and we may want to raise, of course, your tax. I just want to make things a little bit pretty, so we'll do a quick housekeeping, take out all the 0 items, and here's my TB, and I go open up my financial statements, and it's now going to populate my financial statements. So what did we just do? Well, clients in DraftWorks, we connected to Cync, we imported, it imported the TB automatically, it linked everything automatically for me, didn't have to worry, open up my financial statements, good to go. Okay, so it's taken all the hard work, and I hate to say it, a lot of the thinking work out of preparing financials, and I say a lot, not all. Why? Because there may be a case where there was something that was a current liability in the accounting system, but you know better with your professional opinion, it should be a non-current liability. So you may still have to go and change the linking and change a bit of the categorization, but 99% done for you from now on. Just makes me want to scream with happiness. There we go. And let's turn off everything that's not applicable. RTR 14, there's my SOFP. We can now go, we can finish any of our notes. Cool update coming in the next release. These all auto open. And we literally just run through and we do the final adjustments on our financial statements. We print preview, apply my letterhead, and we are done with financial statements as quick as that. Okay. Well, we'd hope to be done with financial statements as quick as that. And everybody here as an accountant knows it's not always that easy. Why? Because that final TB, let me show you that. Where's my camera? That final TB that you get from your client, and they say everything is done, it's final, is not always final. Very rarely is it always final. So we tend to want to raise adjustments and raise some journals and fix a few things in my financials. Okay. And that's fine. Okay. I can go and I can raise an adjusting journal in DraftWorks. We're going to raise one now. Let's create a normal adjusting, and let's call this correction of allocation. Okay. Reference working paper 1015, whatever it is. And we're going to do a few little corrections around in the values. Okay. So let's have a look. Let's go and let's select accounting fees. Accounting fees, I saw that there was a misallocation of, say, 1,000 Rand, and that should actually have gone to computer expenses. Okay. Okay, so we're passing the journal. The journal is going to update my working trial balance now. Okay, so there's my journal gone through. It's adjusted, it's updated. I'll go, fantastic. But the problem is only half of the problem is solved. Why? Okay, so I've posted my journal, and now my final figures are going to be fine when I go to my financial statements. But the issue comes in with this journal. Okay, everybody knows the issue. You hand it over to your client, and what do? They don't post it. Next year you get the TB, and you import the TB, and you've got a retained income issue. Okay. Oh, opening balance test, go through, ensure that everything's now fine. And it's just that time, that wastage with doing opening balance test. I think if you're proficient, very proficient, you can probably do an opening balance test in 15 minutes if you have all the data with you. If you have a few new clerks, good luck getting it done in under 2 hours. And I can say that because I remember it taking me an easy 2 hours to do opening balance tests, okay? Especially at the beginning. Things are very scary and new. And retained income doesn't make too much sense until one day it clicks, and then it's like, oh, okay, basic. So what we wanted to do, we didn't just want to solve the problem of getting the data, okay? That's only solving half the problem, okay? Cool, I can access the data and I can bring it in. But the big problem solved is this. It's taking the journal that I've created and going, I want to push back that journal, okay? So we're putting the data, we're putting the data. Why can't we push the data back? Well, with Cync we can. And through that entire spiel, you've seen the Cync button, so you know we can. So we can export the journal back to Cync, and I can say, hey, I want to push this back to Cync. So the journal goes and it says, fantastic, I've posted you back to Cync, it's exported, tick, it's all in balance, happy days, I can go back into Cync. And now this becomes a bit of an approval process. Okay. So this is how we're thinking about it currently. And this is where we need your help on a few little things. We want to know if this is the right way. So when you sign up for Cync, and if you think of anything that's a better way, please engage with us, let us know. We want to, just like DraftWorks, we want to build a solution that fits you perfectly and makes you happy at the end of the day. A lot of us do this for the passion. The money comes anyway because you love what you do. But this Cync is a product of passion. Just like DraftWorks is a product of passion. That's why we love working with the Cync guys out of the UK. Okay, UKI, fantastic team. So I've jumped back into Cync and I went into DraftWorks International. That's where I posted the journal back. And I see that while I was away, that we've received draft journals. Okay, so these are the journals that I've received from Cync. So this is where we envision manager partner type being the final sign-off to go, yes, these are the right journals, or at least some sort of process being around it. And we want to develop those processes with you a little bit further. But you'll be able to either view the journals, or actually go to the journals, and you will see you have these draft journals. Okay, I can then select the journal, okay, and then approve, say, post the selected journals. And what this does is it pushes it back to my accounting system. Okay. So not only can I post journals back from DraftWorks, is that if we've connected to an accounting system, and whatever accounting system we support, we can also post our own journals straight out of Cync. Okay. So if you're viewing, say, your client that's busy running Pastel Partner, for instance, desktop, and you're busy going through his accounts and you see an issue, you can come to journals, you can go to draft, you can click plus, and you can add the journal. Okay, so now we're busy getting in the queue to send it back to Sage 1. Okay, so you can also post it here just by going clicking on plus, and you can choose to post your own journal within Cync, and it will, depending, pretty much no matter the accounting system, you'll be able to push it back. Okay, so there we go. Drafting, pending is done, posted, it's gone back to Sage. Okay, shall we go and have a look at Sage? So let's go look at accounting. We know we go to accounting, accountants area, process journal entries, and review journals. And there is the journal that I have just posted from Cync. Okay, from DraftWorks. Cync handles the connection, handles all the logic, and pushes it back into my client's accounting system. Now, next year, when I roll forward and I go to import again, I'm not going to have any RI issues. My journals will be correct. My comparative will be right. My new year will be 100% spot on. It's going to make life so much simpler. Just this feature alone has blown me away. I wish I had this back in articles. It would have made life so much easier. Wouldn't have had to worry about opening balances. But maybe there is a case for looking at opening balances in a little bit more detail. And we'll get to that a little bit later. It's kind of one of the evolutions that we see Cync going into. Okay. So what does everybody think about that? Was that interesting or what? Okay. Now, some good news. I may be demoing this off in cloud. It's where the integration is gone first. It's our first point of rollout. Again, just going back and showing all the infrastructure, everything is fine and the uptake is good. For the desktop users that have joined us, don't worry, it's going to come to desktops too. So you'll be able to push back all of your journals and access all of your data via one place through desktop. Okay. It's going to make life so much easier. So we'll have a Cync button in there soon. Okay. Any queries from that so far? This is a game changer. Awesome, brilliant, brilliant feature. Thanks, guys. lot of hard work has gone into that. I know with the team behind it, there's been many sleepless nights. So if you have to think of an accounting system, for those of you that have ever opened up a database, think of an accounting system like opening up a brand new puzzle. Everything is everywhere, okay? And it's not one of those 100-piece or 300-piece puzzles. It's one of those few 100,000-piece puzzles. And you have account numbers that are separate to everything else. VAT numbers that are in a column with an ID that goes and ties into 10 other things. So when we do an integration like we've integrated with these products right now, we literally have to take out this puzzle, and we eventually realize that it's not a 300-piece puzzle, it's a 100,000-piece puzzle. And the puzzle is a 3D puzzle too. So we have to go and we have to stick this together and make sure that all the information that's coming through from the one can flow through to the other. And we have intricate understandings of each database. So it's been a massive achievement. Big thank you to the team that's been working tirelessly on this. It's looking amazing. Can't wait for everybody to start using it. Okay. So cool. Coming out, DraftWorks, going to be a big help. One of the things that I was talking about before we jump back into Cync and we start showing you the other cool features is envisioning now this data that we have, that you've now connected to Cync. Because you've connected it with DraftWorks, and you have this GL access, what I want one day, and hopefully it's not very far away, is that when I'm in DraftWorks and say I'm busy working on the PP&E note, and I'm busy reconciling the note, that is always an item where you have to go back to the GL, especially if there's been movements. It could have been an addition, it could have been a disposal, it could have been both. Okay, and that's why you have to go and you have to reconcile. So my idea, my dream, and hopefully we'll be able to do that a little bit later, is instead of having to look at DraftWorks, go, okay, there's been movement, and then go back to the accounting system, or go and ask my client for the GL, or open up the Excel they've done for me, is the ability to access that directly out of DraftWorks, okay? And hit a button, and it will pull up the general ledger just on a side screen. And I think this is going to be fantastic. Kind of like we do the hyperlinks. Just pull it up on a side screen, and it will be my GL there. So while I'm busy reconciling, I can quickly go and I can filter for motor vehicles, for instance, and do the GL drill down, and that will pop it through from Cync, which is pulling it directly through from my client's accounting system. So you know the data is always up to date. So just a little thing like that, I think, is going to revolutionize the way everybody works with DraftWorks. And that's just a basic example in terms of the financial statements. Okay, that is going to save so much time. And again, it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But if you're drafting 2,000 financial statements a year, that adds up. And let's not kid ourselves, accountants, we sell time. We may say we do annuity stuff and we do monthly billing, but the more we can do, the more we can sell, the more money that we can make, especially in nowadays environment. It's all about efficiency. Okay, so that's why we were very excited with automating the linking imports, and hopefully soon in the future, bring out the GL drill downs. I think that will take the product to an additional level. Okay, and it's not just going to be for things like just in terms of your financial statements. We want to do more. So when it comes to things like the audit, okay, you used to going and again having to drill down massively for the audit, going down into the GL and digging around. Again, that is time away from the actual audit. Okay. We want to bring the audit and all the information into DraftWorks. So when you are doing that opening balance check, you can maybe look at automating that soon in the future too. Because we've got the Cync data and we've got my last year's TB data, then I know exactly what I can bring in, and I can compare it to my opening balances in Cync, to my closing balances in DraftWorks, and that I can then even, I wonder if we'll even be able to maybe do that journal automatically. these are things that we're all thinking about, and these are things that we want to achieve in this year. Hopefully, maybe by early next year. This is the drive that we have, and the idea behind the product. And this is where we want to ask for your involvement. Cool things like this that we've thought about, but we're a small team. You spread this across to thousands of people, and the ideas, I think, are just going to explode, and we can build it in. Just like we dev DraftWorks around our users, we're going to be deving Cync around our users and around our user requests. So this is going to be a game changer in terms of data access. Okay, I think I've spoken enough about DraftWorks. I hope everybody sees the coolness that's coming with just the DraftWorks and the Cync integration alone. We're now going to get into a little bit more about Cync itself. And the interesting thing that we're going to step into, and we're probably going to have a quick break before, is this called Connect Your Customers and Suppliers. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with a thought before we just go to, it's been 45 minutes, before we just go to a 10-minute break. I'm going to leave your thoughts around this. If I've connected DraftWorks International and fair value accounts, okay, together, and fair value just happens to be a supplier of DraftWorks International, why can't I share information between the two? Okay. And this is what this not connected button is, because you can. And we'll talk about now connecting accounting systems and companies together to allow the free flow of information between. So imagine debtors and creditors, customers and suppliers speaking to each other, and information arriving without them having to open up an email, without having a dedicated creditors clock to run through all of that and process it and capture it. Think about all the time you can save. Think about all the money you'll save instead of having to pay an OCR company. And the OCR guys start out cheap, but the bigger you go, the bigger your company is, the more expensive they go. Think about that. Okay. But we're going to leave that for after a quick little break, and we're going to talk about all the accounting systems and all the companies sharing some accounting data, but only, of course, the data you select, and removing costs and overheads from your companies for things like reconciliations and the wonderful world that awaits Cync and a lot of the features that are coming soon. Okay.
This is bookkeeping and accounting heaven. Amazing, incredible, wonderful, out of this world, exciting stuff. And then the big ones you can see. Brilliant. Wow, this is awesome. Thanks for the positive response, folks.
Any questions, anything that you have on your mind, post, can we do this, can we do that? Any ideas you have for us, please let us know. It's going to be an absolute pleasure. Okay, so let's get on to the cool stuff. Okay, well, if the DraftWorks stuff wasn't cool for you, then I think it's pretty cool for me. Then you're going to love this. Okay. So I took you through kind of the idea where Cync started. We wanted this company to help us with integration, and we then were integrating into everything. Then we realized that we have access to kind of all this data. Okay. And we thought, well, if we can do a very clever backend, we can have the accounting systems speak to each other. Okay. So company A that's on Sage can speak to company B that's on Xero, that can speak to company C that's on QuickBooks. And then the hard part was going, well, we also want company C that's sitting on the desktop on Pastel, a partner, and on the desktop sitting in QuickBooks. And then it starts to grow, and there's a ton of other accounting systems that we're going to be doing as well. So in the future, we're going to have SAP, we're going to have NetSuite, FreshBooks. All of that is coming. If you are an accounting provider on here and we haven't done it yet, please contact us. We've had requests for things like Smart Edge, for Bluebin. These are all things that we are eventually going to get to. Of course, if they integrate into us, it's going to be faster. but otherwise the team will eventually get to it, but we will try and integrate more. Okay, so anyway, so I'm sitting with DraftWorks International, and if I jump into DraftWorks International, okay, I can see my accounts, but importantly, I can see my customers and my suppliers. Now, my supplier, Fair Value, okay, I know I've got the books in my Cync, but if I didn't, I can send him an invite to go and connect to Cync and connect his accounting system to Cync so we can share information. So there is an entire invite procedure behind this. Kind of quickly show you where users will get emails saying, Earl from Fair Value Accounts has accepted your request, I requested, and it'll go through the entire process of connecting to each other. So it is a guided process. There is approval and denies within the process. So if you don't want somebody connecting to you, you can deny. So all the security and all the access controls around it is already in. And we will expand that more a little bit later with in-user access controls, but that's something that will come a little bit later. Okay, so I'm sitting in DraftWorks International, and I would like to connect to my supplier. If he wasn't in my Cync profile already, I would send it as email to his email account, fairvalue@cync.com. Okay, cync.com would be info@fairvalue.com. It would be their email address. They'd get an invite to join Cync. They would open up a Cync account, and they would then go and authorize Cync to their accounting system. That now allows you to connect to them. Okay. So think of it like an accounting dashboard. Okay. The exact same way the accounting dashboards work with the cloud systems, well, pretty much the same. Okay. Now I'm just going to, for the sake of the demo, I'm just going to connect back to me. So I'm inviting from DraftWorks International, I'm inviting my supplier, their Fair Value accountants, to connect to each other. Okay. I want to share the ledger accounts between us. So I've sent out the invite. As soon as I go back to go into Fair Value, I see that customer connection has already prompted us. I've already got an email as well, say your customer DraftWorks International Limited wants to connect with you for Fair Value. And I go, yes. Okay. We can get into that, or we can get into it here. So we've actually gone to Fair Value now, and I can also accept it here. Okay. So select what we want to connect to. So we're Fair Value, and I want to connect to, I'm letting DraftWorks International connect to me. Remember, DraftWorks International sent Fair Value the request. That's why Fair Value is accepting it, their side. Okay. So what do we have now? So while you're away, we've connected with DraftWorks International. So two companies have just connected. Okay. Two companies on two different accounting platforms have just connected, and they have just shared their ledger accounts with each other. Do you know what that means? Yeah, I love it. So what we've now done with Cync is we've gone, okay, two companies connected, and it's queried each other. And we've connected the ledger accounts. So DraftWorks International has gone, okay, I'm connected to Fair Value's books. Let me look in their ledger account, see what invoices I'm missing. Okay. So if we go back over here, just do Cync up. We found that there are 3 invoices that are sitting in Fair Value accountants from Xero that are missing in DraftWorks International, which is on Sage 1. Okay. And it's told me, going, this is what you've received today. Now, if I have to look, there are actually more invoices that I have sitting in Sage 1, but those have already been captured. So Cync isn't worried about those. Those have already been captured. Cync is only looking at the ones that's missing. So think of the days where you used to send out invoices to your client. I mean, it's basically today. Things are changing a bit now, but you used to send out invoices to your client and you get this invoice in an email and you go capture it manually. Or you then have to forward it to an email address to OCR. Okay. You don't even have to send the emails anymore. It automatically just pops up on your screen that I've received these. Fair Value has processed them. They haven't sent out a single email, but because we're connected, DraftX International and Cync have gone, there are invoices waiting for you. No more missed invoices ever. No more going through Outlook. And I do it often looking for an invoice, especially when someone says, we sent you an invoice last week and I haven't got it. And you have to go search through your junk mail and you eventually find it, or you completely missed it, or you didn't get it. They have to resend that back and forth. What a effing nightmare. Don't worry about it anymore. Okay. Cync will find out what's missing. It will recon, and we can see invoice 2, 4, and 6. I have 5 and 3 sitting in Sage 1. So it has left those out. Okay. It's not worried about those. And these are the invoices that are sitting in 0. Okay. How awesome is that? What's the next step, you may ask? Okay. Well, Cync has told me that these invoices are waiting for you from Fair Value. So I'm going to be able to capture them now. So your VAT is going to be up to date. Okay. There's nothing you're only going to be capturing in a month from now because you missed it and then it applies to the previous month. And some accounting systems are very iffy on that and funny things, and you have to do a VAT reconciliation each time. As soon as the invoice is issued, Cync is going to pick it up and going to deliver for your attention straight away. Okay. And this is just one supplier. Now imagine we've connected to 10 suppliers. Each day you log in and you'll get all the invoices that are ready for capture. Okay, it's going to notify you. Okay, so let's see what detail is available. So I've received an invoice from Fair Value Accountants. This button says Map Invoice Lines. It's exactly what you think it is. So I click this button and we are now showing you the invoice from Fair Value, invoiced out to DraftX International, and a breakdown for what that invoice consists of. This invoice is sitting in Fair Value 0, and it's destined for DraftX International, which is sitting in Sage 1, but I'm viewing it out of Cync. Okay. And I can see exactly what the invoice is for. And let's go to this one. I see fantastic monthly accounting fee. And it is the first time I'm capturing this. Okay, on Cync. So I'm going to tell it where it needs to go for the first time. And then we start to do some clever stuff. A little bit of machine learning, a bit of remembering, a bit of logic. And when I link something, we'll then remember it and we're going to apply it for the next time that invoice comes up. So the next time Fair Value sends me an invoice for not an item, okay, it's an expense. So I'm going to come back, I'm going to explain this. So we've got a monthly accounting fee. I can go and allocate it to accounting fees. I select the tax type, okay, standard rate, and save. Okay. When I click save, it's going to remember that anything I receive from Fair Value that has the line item monthly accounting fee will automatically go posted to the accounting fees. Okay. So similar to what some other systems do, but without the OCR, without all of that rubbish around it, direct connection. And then we have a few other little items. So what happens if you're dealing with stock? Well, if you're dealing with stock, you can then post it into stock. You can then go, I'm receiving an item quantity. You can put it to whichever item it is in your accounting system. And you can even do ratios. So you may buy a pallet of something, okay? So you buy from a supplier a pallet of, let's say, sugar, for example, let's say we bought a pallet of tequila because we can now drink, so we won't have a party. Pallet of tequila comes through. On that pallet, there are 100 bottles. Okay. Now, when I order that pallet, it's 1 unit. So that 1 unit could be sitting in the quantity, 1, so 1 quantity. But when I pull it into my books, I'm recognizing it as 100 bottles. Okay. So here's where you can put in the ratio. So the next time I buy that pallet of tequila, it will come in and it'll say, okay, you bought 1 pallet, 1, but you record it as 100. So when we see quantity of 1 from fair value liquors, we transfer that into 100 to go into your books. Okay. But let's do it as accounting fees, standard rate, save. Changes to this rule will be applied to all future invoices. Line mapped. Okay. Okay. So what do we have? We have ability to post invoice. So we're going to post this back to Sage 1. So I click post. Cync has gone and said, thank you. I know I've got the invoice. Where did it get the invoice from? Fair value. They didn't even send it to us. Cync picked it up and I've allocated to where it needs to go into Sage 1. It now remembers where that invoice needs to go the next time it gets it. So I never have to do a map line again. All I need to do is click post. There are going to be some rules coming a little bit later where you can choose which accounts to post automatically. We'll get to that. That's some intricacies around that. And it's now gone to Sage. Okay. But now I've got another invoice from fair value accountants. And this is where you can see that little bit of machine learning / remembering that we've stored in for the lines mapped. When I opened it up, it's already seen that, hold on, we've already mapped this line item called accounting fees. So it knows it already. But here's a new line item. I just need to tell it where this goes. So next time I get an invoice, maybe just for tax consulting, it will remember tax consulting and it'll automatically allocate that for me. Okay. So there is that little bit of teach in the beginning, but as soon as the teaching is gone, everything is automatic. Okay. And as the system grows, of course, we'll know between the different accounting systems what everybody is using, so we'll be able to do suggestions, okay, which will make life a little bit easier. But this is, of course, always the most accurate. Each company is different. I mean, this could be anything, and this could actually be a cost of sale when 90% of the other companies post it to an expense. Okay, tax consulting wouldn't be a cost of sale ever, but you get what I mean. It could be something else that goes to the cost of sale. Okay. So that's the beauty with getting different accounting systems to talk to each other. That's the beauty of Cync. Okay. So we go over here, and there's the invoice that I just posted through. There were 2. There are now 3, and that posting came through from Cync. Okay. Pretty cool. So that manual capturing of invoicing, the OCRing, all of that is going out of the window, and probably the price that we're going in with is probably going to be the most exceptional item of the Cync DraftWorks relationship. Okay. So talking about costing, if you are a DraftWorks subscriber, Cync is free for you. Okay. So you'll be able to connect all your clients, whether it's 1 to 10,000, you'll be able to sync them together, access all the data, push back all of the data, do the invites, do everything. You'll be able to do the invoice switching. We want to kind of get a hold on what the cost is going to be like. It is something new for us, so we are going to take it step by step. What we are looking at is kind of a volume base. So If it's over a certain number of invoices that we're switching, we'll then probably look at charging. But if it's a low amount, fine. Okay. If it's a very big company, so you connect a company that's 50 million turnover, say for instance, we are going to probably look at charging for the invoice switching behind that. There's going to be some sort of cap. While we can switch, 10, 20 between companies at literally no cost, when your company is switching 1 million invoices a year, then there's going to be a cost that's going to be involved. So of course, we'll try and keep it always open as much as possible and free of charge, but there will be services that we are going to bolt on to Cync that is going to come at a charge potentially, and we will see how things go. So please just bear with us in this time. It's going to be a lot of learning from both sides, but we foresee that Cync, for majority of what you've seen today, will remain free of charge, and it most definitely will remain free of charge. And that's our promise for connecting all your clients to DraftWorks and importing. All of that will be free of charge. We're just going to monitor volumes based around invoice switching. Again, we don't have to do massive processing because of the genius behind the guys that built the switching. It's very low, what would you say? There's not a lot of data. When you OCR an invoice, you get a PDF that's a few hundred KB or meg, and then you have to have these massive servers run through this and analyze this and break it down. That creates heavy processing requirements, and that's why there's a cost. This has been cleverly developed, so it's very lightweight. Okay. From here, what is coming? Oh, lots of things. Purchase orders, quotes, acceptance of quotes system. So if you have a client where you want to request a quote, you can now, well, you'll eventually be able to use DraftWorks to send out a quote request, get that quote acceptance, purchase orders, everything automatic. We envision guys going out with Cync for deliveries and basically doing delivery notes and it going back into Cync automatically. And then of course into the accounting system. So there's some cool stuff that's going to come with that. My big one, what I'm hoping we get to at some point in time, and this is going to rely on how much Cync spreads, and we do want it to spread. So please invite as many people and everybody and Cync as many people as you can and many companies as you can. When it gets opened to you. We want a case where, especially for audit, or even when you're doing your engagements, okay, your assurance engagements, whether it's a review or even a compilation, things are risky nowadays for accountants, and we want to offer a service that reduces that risk. So think of it think about this. When you go into DraftWorks International here, and there's a button that you press. And DraftWorks International is connected to the customers, connected to the suppliers, and I'm the auditor and I click a little button because I'm allowed viewing. And what it does is it goes and it connects to all of the accounting systems. It checks, you can link via the VAT number or a few other little items, and it will bring you out coverage going, we verified 60% of the transactions within DraftWorks International to all the connected suppliers and customers. That starts to change the way we look at audits and assurance engagements massively. Okay, it's not going to change your audit, but it may reduce your risk substantially. Imagine getting a 70–80% verification of all your income, your expenses exists in here, exists in others. Okay, you can already hopefully go to low risk. You still have to go and address all your other risks, but it'll be a great starting point. So these are some of the ideas that we're playing with around in dev, and We have high hopes, high dreams. We think we've got the system to do it. There are a few things that we're playing around with in terms of ideas. Please let them come. See, we've gone with a black background, which I love. Let us know if you don't like it. Sorry, Joe. I love it. I work at night most time. I know accountants work a shitload at night, and there's nothing worse than getting eye strain from looking at a white screen. So if you like this, let us know. There will be an option for white a little bit later. Sure, there's going to be, I don't know. There's just too much excitement. Guys, have I missed anything? There is some work around. We have to go and we have to do manuals, and we have to do some tutorial videos, because there are a few little options. There's some settings that lurk behind each that we want to document, that we want to make available for you, so you can go get a quick overview, like things like the refresh intervals. When I've connected Cync to an accounting system, I can then choose for it to, once a day, go and pick out the latest and the greatest for me and report on it, like we had this reporting on invoices that are waiting. So there's a few little cool things around that you can do for that. And maybe even an option to have a paid version later that checks once an hour. Okay, that's going to put additional resources on resource strain on our infrastructure. So that's something that we may have to charge for. But for the dailies, no, or for the manuals, no. That's going to be something that we keep, of course, open to all of our users. And there is just so much more. I was going to show a connection to QuickBooks, but it's very much the same. Where, let me just switch to here. Let's log into, so let me just refresh that. Let's log into PCRS.com. Okay, so when I log into this is a brand new company. This is going to be a business. Okay, this is going to be something where I'm a business owner. Yeah, I'm accessing this data, but I want to share this data with my accountant, and my accountant, well, the accountant's going to be me sitting with this grid. Okay, so next, QuickBooks Online. Okay, we'll go through the authorization. Okay, connector, auth done. Sorry, it's just authorizing there. Okay, computers are us. Next, invite my accountant. So this is the business owner going, I'm connecting to my QuickBooks or even my Pastel, because when I'm away from the office, I want to still be able to see how my business is running, see what invoices are. So this is a nice option for all of the guys running, say, Pastel, where you want to have a desktop dashboard. That's something that's now free. Okay, new user. Okay, I'm going to invite myself, so that's cync.com, and that role is of an accountant. Okay, so what happens is we're now syncing over there. And when that has synced, there we go. I now get the email. Earl has invited you to Cync. So this is what it will look like when you're inviting your accountant or clients. You can accept that invitation. Okay. Accepted. Okay. And we now have access to computers or us, that is. sitting in QuickBooks Online. Okay. And then, of course, if these guys go and add any of their other group accounts, so think about you assisting a group, they have multiple branches, different accounting systems throughout, you can now bring them all together in one place. So the CFOs can have a nice little dashboard head view down. So now you're also seeing a lot of potential around reporting. So we've brought in the DraftWorks integration, we have the nice overviews, we have the accounting systems speaking to each other, we have all of the links available for DraftWorks, so expect some nice bespoke management reporting functionality coming a little bit later to Cync. And that's something that we also hope to offer for free. This is what we have now, but we hope to bring something else cool that's out, and you can invite your accountant to come and view all of the details. So that's something that's cool and coming a little bit later. Oh, there's a lot coming, but what we want to do is we want to get started with basics, start the rollout, start getting everybody using it. And the last thing I'm going to ask for, you will notice it is in beta. So please, when we start rolling it out to you, let us know if anything works, doesn't work, lacquer. I'm going to ask for the guys that use Xero, please, if 3 of you could just raise your hands after you've used it, or just contact us. We'd just like to use you as references. Right now it's 30-minute access that we have with Cync. But of course, we'd like the partner key so we can have access whenever we need. So we can update Cync so you don't have to go and off the connection each time you want to push the journal back from DraftWorks, for example, back to Xero. The other guys aren't a problem. Xero, we just have to do a little bit of an application for that. But yes, I hope everyone's excited. There's probably a ton of things I missed. It's become quite a big app, but we'll start breaking it down for everybody as we release more and open up more and more and more. And please, guys, let your questions come. I think there are a few Q&As that I'll go through now and address with everybody. If there's any other questions, please shout. Okay. Q&A, Angelique. The different platforms have different accounting number formats. Will Cync standardize the format of the TV and the account numbering? So no, different accounting systems do have different formats, but when we bring it in, when we bring the accounts in, for each different company, for each different platform, we keep it the same for them. Okay, that's the hard parts about what we've done. We don't go and change the data. It doesn't change the accounting platform's data. It will appear the same data as it exists in your cloud platform or in your desktop platform. So in your accounting provider, it will be the same. So we don't mess around with that. You don't get a TV all of a sudden in Cync that's looks different, has different account numbering or anything compared to the TV that's sitting in your accounting platform. Okay, what is Sage Cloud Accounting originally imported from, say, Pastel version 14 and customized old codes into Sage Cloud? Doesn't matter to us, Crispin, it'll be the same. So Cync will be able to replace Receipt Bank and Docker, yep. Legal Suite, Leroy, if you can just explain, I take it that's an accounting system for lawyers, Legal Suite. So there is, when you do start out and you are connecting, if there is a platform that we don't support, please let us know. So this is going to be something where we're going to be integrating in, of course, the most requested. So if you are integrating to something and we don't support it, tell us and we will prioritize that integration for you. Okay. And we've got a list with what we think is the most. If it is something else, tell us what the other item is. Okay. So that's something that's cool there. Okay. Okay, Jared, thank you for the opportunity to join the beta. No, thank you for coming onto the beta. I see you currently on desktop version with WebSync. Okay, it will, I think, development is a hard thing. So I hate giving ETAs because when you think something is quick, it can take a day or it could take 6 months. We are busy just finishing a few items on desktop, things like the new electronic review, and then a few things around print preview, and a few other little odds and sods. And then we're going to put in the integration in desktop to Cync. So that's not too far away. It'll probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, somewhere around there. So yeah, it's coming soon. Okay, I think it's Jean-Louis. Does it detect erroneous and or fictitious invoices as well? Professional judgment required. So that's actually, that's something I kind of forgot about. So I'm going to try and bring up a little article here. So does anyone know what Benford's law is? So this is something that we hope that, again, there's a lot of things we want to push into it. If you don't know what Benford's law is, please go and just Google Benford's law. Okay, it's the law. It's basically a law where you run through a set of numbers and it can tell you whether those numbers are fictitious or not. Okay, or give you an indication bearing that they could be fictitious. So these are things in the suite that we want to be able to provide for you later. I'm not saying it's a definite, it's things that we want to do. We just have to have a look, you know, is it something that we can give away for free? That of course will be the first priority for us. If it's something that takes a lot of resources, then it's going to be a charge. We will bring that out probably a little bit later. So research Benford's law. It's actually a bit mind-blowing. When you see the guys talk about Benford's law and do the calculations, I was very taken aback. So yeah, the ability to pick up fictitious accounts. So together with Benford's law and connecting out to all the suppliers and customers and verifying the transactions between, you should be able to have a key indicator when you take on a new client, whether they are legit or not. So you can quickly see if they're bullshitting. So that gives you peace of mind with your clients as well. Things are very high risk nowadays with new clients. That's why you see in the assurance engagements, there is a lot of focus specifically on audit, on taking on the new client. Okay, a lot of questions about some of the different accounting packages. So we will get there. Please just request it with us. I see there was a request from ACFIN and ACPAC. Thanks, Ollie. Sorry, man, I owe you a phone call. Been busy with this. Okay. What about linking to banks? Like Xero has the bank feeds. So Xero links to the banks. We just really just switch the invoices. We don't do a cash book. So that's kind of what Xero or Sage 1 or QuickBooks specializes in. We're just going to be that switch that lets all the accounting systems speak to each other. So we probably won't do a cash book type system. Well, at least it's not on the roadmap. Maybe things change. For RAC, for the audit, not Shepa, that is what archive clients is for. Okay. So when you're done with the audit, you want to archive it away. There's functionality in DraftRx for archiving. But I get what you're talking about. Okay, how can we access Cync? So if you go into DraftRx Cloud now, you'll see the little Cync button, click on it. We'll start rolling it out to you. That is just this little sign up. And then every day we're going to open it up a little bit more and a little bit more. So you'll be able to grant access via that. And then when it comes to desktop, the same thing. You'll then click on it, it will enroll you, and then it will release just each day. We'll do kind of a rolling release, and more guys will be connected to Cync. Just want to make sure that everything is good to go in the beginning. It is a beta, so we just want to be 100% sure we can provide a solid service and that all of our infrastructure can stand up to the envisioned tera gigs, petabytes, all the big numbers. Okay. Will Cync be able to produce that report? Yeah, I'm sure. Probably will be. Yeah. Sage X3 coming a little bit later. X3 is a funny one because there's different regions, and it's $5,000 for each different region you want to tap into. We do have it on the list to do. Not a lot of people use it, so we will definitely get there. I just think it probably isn't the highest up on the list. Okay. Well done. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Whew. Oh, we also have a customer zone. I completely forgot about that one. Do you want to show it, Joe?
It's just under the customer, if you go to the customer invoices, or there should be a link. So this just gives you an example. So the customer zone gets sent out with the mail. So you could actually mail an invoice. If you go to the customer invoices itself, you've got to go to the invoice screen. Yeah, so if you go back to the, yeah, this is perfect.
For that one, yeah.
Yeah, so what happens is you can actually send out mails from Cync to your clients, and it attaches a link. So it's similar to what you get in most of the online accounting packages. But what's nice here is if you look at something like Partner or the desktop applications that don't have this functionality, it actually allows you to send from Cync a mail with the link, and the guys can go and view invoices. And the status will update. So if someone views an invoice in the customer zone, you'll get a notification on the hub saying that your client has viewed the invoice. It helps for tracking, and there's the ability to enable payments as well. So if you don't have a payment solution on your accounting package, we will give you the option to enable payments, and they can make credit card payments straight from the invoice.
Okay, cool. So they can actually put it in a merchant account on Cync, and then if you have a desktop platform, you all of a sudden have a cloud platform to receive all of your payments on. That's awesome. Correct. Thanks, Joe. Okay, sure. I think we've gone through kind of the majority. There's other little nitty-gritty stuff and a lot of cool other options. But I think for most, we've covered what Cync is about, where Cync is going to go. And now we just ask you to please use it. For the Zero guys, please, if anyone's willing to sponsor us, just with testing it and then just being for a reference for us, please just shout so we can get that partner ID and we can get you up and running permanently instead of having to refresh Zero. That'd be fantastic. And a big thank you to the team behind Cync. There is going to be a lot in the next coming months, and look forward to all of the DraftWorks users using it in cloud and using it in desktop. And I'm sure it's going to simplify your life. Please let us know how we can improve as always. And as always, thank you for trusting us. And yeah, a big thank you to Cync UKI for developing Cync and for entering in this partnership with us. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I think that's pretty much it. I hope everybody enjoyed the session. I hope you're excited. And the time for feedback and the time to, if you're on cloud, go and click on the Cync button. It will pop you up here. Click join, go and sign up. We'll start releasing it in batches out to you. It's good to go now. And then in desktop, in a few weeks, the same button will come in and we'll start to release it to batches. And then we, of course, we'll open it up to World plus Dog. And we hope it helps as much as we think it will. We think it will change the way you do accounting. We think it will reduce your costs. We think it will improve your efficiency, specifically in this day and age. Nobody wants to go and hunt for stuff anymore. You just want to present it to you, click button solution. And I think Cync is a bit unlike anything out there. So we're very excited to bring it to you. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Carl. Mohammed, yeah, there will be some customizing of reports later in Cync. So there's some very cool stuff. As with everything, we start out getting the base done and the base is happy. The infrastructure, the software, everything talking to each other nicely. When we're happy with that, then all the cool stuff we've been building, we start to pop on. So the product's going to expand massively in the next few months. So we're looking forward to that. Just go to cync.com, cync.com, sign up there, or on DraftWorks Cloud, just click Cync and you'll sign up. We'll send everything through to all of the DraftWorks users, probably in the next few days, just like a welcome pack, a little bit of an overview of how to add, how to do everything, educational pack, but that will maybe be next week or the week after for everybody that opts in. But yeah, for the time being, if you're not on cloud, look for it on desktop. Everything will come to you automatically. If you're not on DraftWorks cloud or desktop and you hear from other software, just go to cync.com and you'll be able to sign up and register there. Okay. Thanks, everybody. And all of our clients, every single one, we wouldn't be here without you. So the biggest thanks always goes to you. But yeah, looking forward to bringing this out. It's going to be amazing. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye.